So I listen to the fuses. Intrang, light distress is close. CO2 23, fatigue, close. 1443, adaptative stress, close. F3 is okay. I listen at the strain of the SBS. I have an occipital lateral left and vertical up. I listen at the occipital bone on the antero-posterior axe. The occipital goes cephalic to the left and posterior to the right. So I write this: cephalic left and posterior right. And the occipital bone goes in extension. It means the occipital is like this, like this, like this, and like that, without moving. The sphenoid bone goes like this. It's what we call a right. I listen at the pre-post sphenoid to amplify the mechanism respiratoire primaire. Flexion, extension. Flexion of the frontal. I listen at the parietal bone. The parietal posterior is frozen, there is no movement at all, it's frozen. The parietal anterior is frozen also. The frontal bone is dissociated. The ethmoid bone is blocked in flexion. The maxillary bone are blocked in internal rotation. The temporal bone, this one is blocked in external rotation to the right and internal rotation to the left. The temporal bone are like this. The zygomatic bone are blocked in internal rotation, and the palatine bone also. I listen at the parietal posterior bone, and the parietal posterior bone is frozen. There is no movement at all in flexion or extension. It's a frozen zone. This bone, the parietal posterior bone, talks about a feeling of abandonment. Hold into the body, feeling of abandonment. And the parietal anterior bone is frozen also. It talks about a memory of death, a fear of death, hold into the body. So I'm going to go to the feet to release the frozen zone of the parietal bone. So the parietal posterior is released on the calcaneum with lemniscate and on the first cuneiform for a feeling of abandonment. 2 times on the 2 feet, calcaneum and cuneiform. And the parietal anterior bone, it was frozen about a death memory. Calcaneum to release this bone. Talus and first cuneiform. On the both sides. Calcaneum, talus, bone, and first cuneiform. So I go to the feet, to the skull. And now the parietal posterior bone moves, is completely open, in flexion. I check if there is a suture between the different parts of this parietal. The parietal posterior with the temporal bone, with the occipital bone, no movement, it's okay. The sagittal suture, and the sagittal suture, I have a suture. This parietal bone is up plus cephalic. So I'm going to correct on the feet. To correct the suture sagittal, I go to the cuboid bone and the scaphoid bone. And I correct. And I have a good MRP. On the other feet, cuboid bone, scaphoid bone, and I feel I have a compression. Decompress. And I have a good primary mechanism. So that's really the suture. Voilà, the suture is okay. The parietal anterior was frozen about a death. I check if there is a suture with the frontal bone, with the ethmoid bone, the sphenoid bone, no. The temporal bone, no. So here I don't have a suture we appear. It means that this feeling of fear of death it's also something you inherit from one of your parents. It's like you inherit fear from one of your parents. Okay. And the parietal anterior now is moving. Before it was frozen, now is moving. It goes in flexion. Oops. So right, parietal anterior, flexion. The frontal bone is frozen, the frontal bone. The frontal bone, it talks about, in the family, about some tendency to deny. When we have a problem, we don't say, we deny, we protect ourselves. It can also talk about some secret taboo in the family. Secret stories, we don't talk about this. So the frontal bone is frozen. I'm going to go to the feet. It's the second cuneiform. I do astragal, talus bone, scaphoid, and second cuneiform for the frontal. On the 2 feet, talus bone, scaphoid, and second cuneiform to release the frontal bone. And I check the PMR. Okay. I listen at the frontal bone now. The frontal bone goes completely in extension now, so it's not frozen anymore. I check if there is a suture to have some information about this frontal. So I check the frontal with the sphenoid, frontal with the maxillaire, it's okay. Frontal, voilà. And frontal with the other part of the frontal, it's a metopic suture. I have this, boom. It is the dissociation that I feel first. This suture means that in the relationship with her parents, she didn't find a space between her father and her mother. It's a way you feel welcome also in your family. Normally, a father and a mother, when they have a child, they must give some space between them to welcome the child. If the child is not really desired, or sometimes also some people are really fusional, they really love themselves so much that when the child comes, he doesn't feel space for him. This is this suture. So I'm going to go to the feet to release this suture, the metopic suture. So the metopic suture, between the first and the second cuneiform, I have a compression. Boom! I decompress with the informational release. Voilà. And I get back to the primary respiratory mechanism. The other part, the other part of the frontal, this, tac, I go back, I decompress, and now it's okay. I go to the frontal, to the metopic, and now I don't have a dissociation anymore. I correct the metopic of the frontal. I listen at the frontal, it goes in extension now, it's not frozen anymore. Extension. Ethmoid bone. The ethmoid bone is okay. I have a good movement, flexion, extension. The maxillary bone are blocked in extension. The temporal bone, external rotation, internal rotation, like before. The zygomatic bone, extension, like before, and the palatine bone, extension. So I have finished the diagnostic of the skull. I'm gonna go to the sacrum. LPS. Here I have S2. The hiatus is here. S4, S3. Voilà. So the fuse intron. So tell me when you feel a little pain like a needle when I pass the point. Is to unstress the body. You feel somewhere here?
It's starting to go there.
No? Voilà.
Yep.
Ok. Intron. So now I connect the sacrum and the skull already. It's to unlock the body from some kind of stress. 1443, so D1. D1 is in flexion. I have a movement up and down. C4. So it's to unlock the body of some adaptative stress. Postural stress. D4. Okay, and L3. Occipital. S2. So I connect the occipital and the sacrum again. And between D1 and D2, it's to unstress the body about some fatigue for the body. Now I'm going to work on the strain. Inside the hiatus, I had a counter strain of the occiput to the left, it goes to the left lateral. I push to correct the SBS between the occiput and the sphenoid, and I add a vertical strain. And from the hiatus, I'm gonna correct the SBS. Now it's okay. I don't have a movement. I check L5 and connect it to the strain. It goes in flexion, I go down and up to have a good motility of the L5 vertebra. Now I'm gonna work on the muscle of the sacrum. Before to work on the sacrum, I'm gonna check those muscles. They are relaxed. Those one, carré des longs in French, they are really relaxed also. All this area, the pyramidal, really relaxed also. And this part, little bit more tough, this one. So we're gonna work to release the pisiform muscle. Voilà. And now I'm gonna work on the sacrum. So before I had my occiput cephalic gauche. The occipital was like this, cephalic to the left. When I check the sacrum, it's cephalic to the right. It means there is an inversion of the body. It's what we call the big 8. I'm going to work on the occipital first. On S1, it's okay. I check. It's still cephalic to the right. I'm going to work to the palatine bone. Now I listen, and now it's cephalic to the left. I listen at the sacrum, it's cephalic to the left. It's what I find first. So I'm going to harmonize the sacrum with the informational invitation. And now I have my sacrum free on this axe. I had the occipital posterior to the right. It means normally it should be posterior to the left. When I press the sacrum on the side, it's posterior to the left. So I'm gonna adjust the sacrum informationally, very light. Now it's okay. I add the sphenoid bone like that first. Check the sacrum if it's free. This one is more, I can see is more high. It's like the sacrum is like this. When I press, it doesn't come back. So I'm gonna adjust a little bit the sacrum with the invitation to balance the sacrum very lightly. Now it's okay, it's better. Now I listen at the sacrum bone globally, and I have a movement of flexion and extension. It means the sacrum is balanced. So I connect the sacrum with the occiput. And to balance the sacrum, we'll harmonize the occiput and the sphenoid. Now we're going to work on the pre-post sphenoid. He was blocked in flexion. As I can see, he's in flexion. I put it down. The occiput was blocked in extension. The pre-post sphenoid was in extension, so I help him to go in flexion. And the frontal was in flexion and is in flexion, so I invite him to go in extension. Voilà. So I did just correct the pre-post sphenoid, so all the membrane of the skull. In few seconds, I harmonize with the occiput, and now I can see that the movement of life of the body is more deep, is more slow. The pre-post sphenoid helps to amplify the movement of life, the primary respiratory mechanism. Now I'm going to work on the chain to release the skull. It is the energetic networks from Maurice Poyet. The ethmoid is okay. The ethmoid was okay. I'm going to go on the maxillary. The maxillary is in extension. I invite him to go in flexion. It goes up. It's okay. I go to the frontal. It's okay. I go to the parietal anterior bone. It goes up in flexion. My parietal anterior was blocked in flexion. It's in flexion here. So I invite him digitally in extension. Voilà. I go to the malar bone, zygomatic bone. On S2, they are blocked in extension. I listen. Now it's okay. I have a flexion and extension of the movement of life of the zygomatic. The temporal bone was in external rotation to the right, internal rotation to the left. So I correct the temporal bone. It's okay. The palatine bone was blocked in extension, so I invite him to go in flexion. And the parietal posterior bone is blocked in flexion, so I go down. What I did, if something moves. Palatine bone, parietal posterior, zygomatic, and temporal bone. And I connect with the occiput. So when I work on the energetic network, I release the skull, I release some organs, and I release some part of the body, articulations and bones. Voilà. I'm going to check just the sacroiliac, and it's okay. I'm going to work just on the vertebra. I'm going to just work on the lumbar. This is L5. So L5, I have a good flexion and extension of L5. Synchronized with the sacrum, it's okay. L4, also. L3, also. The fact to work on the energetic network will release the vertebra. But some may be locked again. L2, L1, L12. Perfect. Voilà. Perfect. Okay. When I listen at the temporal bone, I can see that this temporal bone goes up, cephalic. This means that the iliac is up. So I'm going to take the iliac with an informational invitation. 2 times. I'm going to help to release the iliac. I check. It's okay. Now it's not up anymore. Because I work on the skull and on the bone. I'm going to check at the primary respiratory mechanism of the hip. And for me it's okay, I have a good movement. The maxillary bones are connected to the PMR of the iliacs. I check the iliac and I have a good external rotation and internal rotation. So no problem at all at the back. The vertebra was very good. Voilà, it's open like this and come back. I connect also with the femur to check. I have an external rotation of the femur and an external rotation of the iliac in the same time, and it's come back. The other way. And là, I see I have an external rotation of the iliac, but the femur doesn't want to go, so it's a little bit locked. So I'm going to invite the femur to, voilà, it's okay. Flexion, extension. So the fuse in trunk, in the hiatus before, it's okay. Very quick. CO223 on the occiput, it's okay. I have a movement like this. C4, cervical 4, it's okay. I have a flexion and extension. The strain of the SBS, I take the occiput, I take the sphenoid, and I don't have a strain anymore. Before, I had this before. Tack and tack. Now it's perfectly balanced. I check at the occipital bone connected to the sacrum. And now it's balanced also. I listen to this PMR. I have a flexion and extension. So before it was like this, tack, tack, tack. It was like this before. Now it's perfectly balanced and I have a good PMR of the occiput. I listen at the sphenoid bone. And the sphenoid bone I have a good flexion and extension. It goes like this and come back. Before it was going like this. Okay. I listen at the prepost sphenoid. Is okay. Parietal posterior, anterior, okay. And I listen at the bone of the skull. So parietal posterior is okay. I have a good flexion and extension. Parietal anterior is okay. I have a good flexion and extension. The frontal bone is okay. Flexion and extension. The ethmoid bone was okay before. It's still okay. The maxillary bone. Voilà. I have a external rotation and it come back. External rotation and it come back. Before it was just in extension, it was blocked like that. The temporal bone I have a good external rotation and come back on the both sides. So they are well balanced. Before it was like that, like the sphenoid. The zygomatic bone, I have a flexion and extension. And that come back. And the palatine bone, flexion and extension. So all the skull is released. And listen at all the skull globally. And I have a good movement of flexion and extension. So for me the session is over about the skull. I release the skull from the problematic and the sacrum. So now if I have to work on the knees, or on the ankle, or on elbow, I will work locally. But before I need to do the protocol Poyet and somatopathy to balance the skull and the sacrum. I can listen at the primary respiratory mechanism of the organ. So first the heart, voilà, flexion, extension, I have a good movement, is not frozen. The lung, extension, flexion, I have a good movement, so they are not frozen. The liver, voilà, I have a good movement, like this. The spleen is moving. The spleen moves always very fast, the primary respiratory mechanism. Connected to the mother. The pancreas, I have a good movement also, connected to the father. The stomach, I have a good movement, flexion, extension. The intestine, flexion, extension, it's okay. The colon, flexion, extension, external rotation and coming back. The bladder goes up in flexion, come back, it's okay, it's not frozen, I have a movement. The ovarian, they are moving. The uterus with my intention, and I have a movement, it's not frozen. The kidney, voilà. Flexion, extension, they are not frozen. So no organs are frozen for her.